Hi. So I'm not entirely sure why I can feel compelled to make this video, but I thought I might do it while I have the thoughts in mind. And I apologize for the awkward video setup and my crimes against aspect ratio, but comes with the territory, I guess. So during quarantine, I've been really enjoying a solitaire variant that can be played in one hand, which, as far as I know, is called One Hand Solitaire, or I guess Bathroom Solitaire. And it's pretty simple. You're probably already familiar with it if you're watching this video, but you take the first 4 cards, and what we're looking for is a match on the first card and the 4th card of suit or value. And if it's a match in let's look for one first. If there's no match, obviously you just turn over another card. I use this method with looking at the bottoms of the cards rather than the top because I just find this a lot more natural, even though you're reading upside down. It's a little more comfortable. So here we have our first match, and that's in suit. Now, when there's a match in suit, you discard the middle 2 cards between them, and they're gone. And then you can check for another match here, but there isn't one. And here we have another. When it's a match in value, when there is a, let's see if I can compel one to come up while I'm talking. I guess not. Wow, this is kind of a pretty bad stack here. And this is actually one of the reasons that I'm making this video, is that I've kind of created a variant of this that feels a little more interesting and fun to play. I'm not sure if there's any like ludic value in this variant, but I enjoy it a lot. So we're getting a lot of suit matches, which obviously are a lot more common. There's only 4 suits, and there's 13 values, right? So you just keep going. And like any, like a lot of solitaire games, patience games, it's really more of a process than a game. You're not actually making any decisions here. It's a little more of a sort of a test of attention and just seeing, what the cards hold in store for you. So here's a match of value. And when this is the case, you discard all of them. Now, when there's a match of 4, or rather a match in value and you discard all 4, nothing's going to change about the stack below here because all of those cards are gone. And these, we've already looked at this set, right? So you just keep pulling. And is that the last? That is the last one. Wow, it's a pretty terrible stack. So with normal rules like this, now there is a chance for a match of suit to kick off a chain reaction, where when the two middle cards are removed, that creates a new potential match, right? So that could cause a chain reaction in such that you're removing more cards, and then that creates another match, and so on and so on. But it's pretty rare, right? It seems pretty rare with these rules. So the variant that I've come up with, which is very simple change, and it's really only a change to what cards you discard. the method and the rules for matching are the same, but when there is a match, in suit, which is probably going to be the first one that comes up, when there's a match in suit, instead of discarding the middle two cards, discard the match. Now it's a little bit awkward at first with just with two hands, even though it's called One Hand Solitaire, but you get used to it. Now, just like discarding the middle two, this creates a new potential pair, and in fact, this one is a match of value, which is convenient. So usually that means discarding all four, which doesn't cause a potential chain reaction. So in this case, we remove the middle two, which is a little bit reversed. So it takes reversed from the normal rules. So it takes a little bit of practice to recognize it or to do it properly. But and the value that I see in this variant, I could be completely wrong because, you know, it's always, you know, kind of down to the luck of the draw, but it seems to cause more chain reactions more frequently, and the chains seem to be longer, which is a lot of fun. Like that's those chain reactions are kind of the real appeal of this game to me, aside from, you know, the just sort of general therapeutic nature of the activity. I have been playing this game, the normal variant, a lot during long Zoom meetings, and, you know, just to sort of occupy my you know, the fast part of my brain and actually allow me to pay attention to what's going on. What's being said, at least. So this is a pretty bad stack in general. We're just not getting a lot of matches. So again, when there's a match in suit, we discard the match and keep the middle two. And that brings us to another value match, and it stops there. Unfortunately, here we have a value match, or a suit match rather. Let's see what we got. Okay, so another suit, and it stops there. Here we have a suit match, and another, nope, no, we don't. Okay, so that's the middle two for the value match. And I haven't messed around with any further variation of these, of the two changes to which cards are discarded. So there might actually be a simpler change that gets the same sort of effect. And I haven't done any sort of statistical analysis on this or anything like that. I'm not a maths person. So I don't know if, again, I don't know if this is like a real effect. So it's another kind of crappy stack. So we'll probably make some cuts in here and see if we can find a good example of a stack that chains really well. And of course, if I'm cutting this video, it kind of defeats the point. So let's see how this next one goes. And I don't make videos or anything, so if you're still watching, I guess I appreciate your patience and your willingness to check this out, because I'm sure there's a lot of other things you could be doing instead. But if you like these kinds of things, then then maybe you're seeking them out, and a connection has been made. And with any luck, there's actual value to this variant. this one's a little bit better. And I'm sure I've made mistakes in here, so I apologize for your internal screaming and your patience again, if that's the case. Oops. That was a little awkward there. There we go. And this one actually is another match. That's where it stops. So, if my limited experience in playing this variant is accurate or sort of average with the relatively small number of games that I've played, it seems to, as I said, produce longer chain reactions more often, but it also seems to fairly consistently stop at about 10 or 12 cards left, or maybe a little bit longer, or about half the deck, as we saw with that first game, which is interesting. I don't know if that's like a real effect or just chance, obviously, but it'd be interesting if it's a real effect. And that's it. So yeah, around, what is this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cards left. So, it could be that it has a lower likelihood of finishing a game than normal one-handed solitaire, which is an extremely small number. I don't, well, not extremely, but I can't remember, but something like at least 1 in 100 games, probably something around 200 or so. Chance of going through the deck completely. And in fact, the way that the new discard rules work, I don't think it's actually possible to completely finish the game. You would only ever end up with 2 left, but hey, we should consider that the win condition. That's fine. So as I was saying, it could be that this is that this variant has a lower likelihood of winning a game, but to me it just feels more interesting. It's a little more rewarding. I was about to say more engaging, but it's not necessarily the case, because you can still sort of zone out and just follow the rules with your sort of unconscious brain. So let's try another one here. I hope you could hear me over the shuffling. Hey, so here's a good start. Come on. There we go. Whoops. I also hope I've been in frame this whole time. I haven't actually been looking at the camera. Keeping it slim at the start. And obviously this is a little more natural to do without the sort of awkward camera setup that I have here. Look at these chains, right? I don't know, like, I don't, like, most of these are like, match discards, right? Like, the cards that are matched are getting discarded. It just seems to happen so much more often than normal solitaire, one-handed solitaire rules. So I don't really understand what's going on here, which probably means that, like, I don't know. I'm also a little surprised, like, I did look briefly for one-handed solitaire variants, and I don't really see any much out there, at least that's sort of captured online. Wikipedia doesn't even have an entry, I think, for one-handed solitaire. But I'm sure there are a lot of card game websites out there that I'm not really familiar with. Again, I'm pretty new to like patience games, actually. Pretty cool, huh? And you know, I haven't played a ton of one-handed solitaire, and it could be that, like, it actually does have this level of chain reactions, and I'm just unlucky or something. But, like, with the low number of games that I played of this variant, I really can feel the difference. So yeah, it's just kind of a cool thing that I came across. I was watching some other YouTube videos of folks explaining various solitaire rules, and felt kind of compelled to just sort of get this out there. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope this is fun for you to play, and who knows, maybe it'll be the next big thing.